so a few months. Okay. So in 2016, we walked a Camino together. We walked the Norte and then the Primitivo.
Yeah.
And we survived 30 days together on a Camino. So if you can do that with somebody, then you know you got a good connection. So anyway, we got married later and we lived in England, and then we walked a huge Camino together.
Yeah.
So we came up with the Camino way of life, and you don't even need to walk a Camino. There are ways that we talk about, and Kate does a lot of exercises that she shows people where you can get into a Camino frame of mind.
Yeah.
And you can, even though, I mean, like right now, I work in a fish department in a supermarket, and I could say, oh my God, I used to have cars, houses, I used to have plenty of money, and now here I am in a fish department in a supermarket that's nearly 70 years old. Life sucks. This is awful. But it isn't. If you have a Camino way of life mentality, I love this job. I have 5 friends who all work in the same department. We have fun all day long. We get lots of customers. We slice up fish. We serve fish all day long, shrimp, you name it. And, I have a great time. And plus, I make a little money. So, there are people who have jobs like that, and, it's just a job. So you can have the Camino way of life in any situation if you want to. It's just a matter of thinking differently. And that's what you can discover on a Camino, or you don't need to do that. You can learn there are certain exercises, movements, getting into your body, stuff that Kate teaches that can help you have a Camino mentality and be inspired to whatever is happening to you to have a good time. Now, I can't say 100% I have a good time, but I tell you, I have a lot more of a good time today than I did 10 years ago, than I did 5 years ago. It's a very, and you can live it.
Definitely. Not just that, but you also on the Camino of Life, you also have some guidebooks wrote by you. Talk to us about your guidebooks, please.
Yeah, so it's one right now. It's one, but for the Chemin du Puy, the Via Podiensis is what it is in Latin. That's the sort of official name. That starts in Le Puy and goes to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is the start of the Française. In English, there are no guides, or they're old, or they're just not much help. So I started creating, it's basically a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And this spreadsheet lists all of the villages, communities that you walk through from Le Puy to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, everything, the distances, and then it gives you what I think of as Camino pilgrim hostels that you can stay in. It gives the details, contact information, and all on one PDF. You can find all of this information. And you can use it to plan your Camino, because you can see the distances you might need to walk. It's I've been doing it. I update it every year, and it gets a little better. I offer it donativo. I have a recommendation. If you like it, send me $5. So I have this one right now for the Via Podiensis. But I hope to create some other ones. Amazing. But a lot of people love it. It's very useful. It's easy. You just go to your phone, PDF, there it is. Oh yeah, I can stay there.
So I want to ask you one hard question, because you may relate to this, but of course, I live in Portugal. I live nearby Porto in a town called Braga. And I know that you walked the Portuguese Camino from Lisbon 2 years ago, if I'm
Yes,
correct.
that's correct. In
And I
2019.
I know for sure. I know some parts of. I know that all the Caminos from Porto to Santiago. I know, but because I walked it. But before I know just some parts, and I'm used to listen really bad things about some stages, not all the stages.
Yeah.
Mainly arriving to Porto because there are lot of roads and not there are not as many accommodation as the French there's the French way. But anyway, I want to ask for your opinion. What you think about it? Because mostly of Americans or Australians that I know, everyone say and advising other people not to walk it. I guess regarding any experiences, let the people find about it. Not do not this not walk this Camino because there's a lot of roads or a lot of cobblestones
Yeah.
because that is of course it is, but let the people find about it. So what's your opinion? Please let us know.
Well, okay. I wouldn't suggest that somebody walk their first Camino
Yeah,
starting in Lisbon.
yeah,
I mean, the first day out of Lisbon, you're walking. There's a lot of, it's industrial. It's kind of depressed. Then you're out in sort of strange countryside. There aren't too many places to stop. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that if you've never walked a Camino, I wouldn't start from Lisbon.
yeah,
Now, most people, when they think of the Portuguese Camino, they think it starts in Porto. You've missed half of the Camino or more
yeah,
in Portugal. I mean, it's I on my first Camino, I'd walked a long way by the time I got to Burgos. But there are a lot of people who complain about walking. Oh, forget about walking into Burgos. I mean, maybe if you have to walk along by the river route. Otherwise, just jump on a bus and skip it. And that, I mean, I can understand. It's industrial and it's not nice, and you're on roads and stuff. And you walk around the airport and it's boring. These are all stories you tell yourself. And one of the things I learned from the Camino is don't complain. Complaining is a terrible, terrible thing to do. So,
yeah.
No matter what is going on in life, don't complain. Oh, my back aches. I didn't sleep last night. Just let go of all of that and it can change your life. So, you read these stories, as you said, the cobblestones. Lots of people complain about the cobblestones. Why? The cobblestones are beautiful. I mean, I've spent a lot of time after my Camino. We lived in Portugal
Yeah.
for 6 months, and we lived in Nazaré, which is a really nice place. It's all cobblestones.
Yeah,
And when it
definitely.
rains, the sun, it's beautiful. And some of the designs that you'll see in places, it's beautiful. And it's no harder to walk on cobblestones than it is to walk on hard tarmac or concrete. Yeah. And the cobblestones in Spain aren't like this. They're flat. So you're not going to trip on them. It's a beautiful experience. And, going through what I would call, the shitty parts of town, actually, it's really a good thing, because then you appreciate so much more the beautiful parts. And
Definitely.
There's loads of beautiful parts.
So let me tell you a story about
contrast.
that. So I walked the Camino, the Portuguese from Porto, not from Porto, from Braga. It's where I live. Part of the Camino also starts here, and that's lots of history with the Camino here. So I started from here. But joins in the Central Camino in Ponte de Lima, the one that I started. So
Yeah.
after Tui, on the stage, before you reach Porrinho, there's also something similar to Burgos. If you go from the industrial part of, or there's also you can go from a different. It's larger, but it's more beautiful. They say. So I walked 3 times the Portuguese Camino, and I have walked from the both, also from the industrial area and from the other side, and in each way that are also beautiful. And like you said, do not complain. Is the Camino is beautiful anyway, if there are cobblestones or not. Just enjoy it every moment and carpe diem.
And one thing I would say is I've walked on the central route a bit. I've walked on the coastal route.
Coastal, yeah.
I've walked the espiritual, which was you take a boat for part of it.
Yeah.
So I've walked quite a few bits, and a lot of people say, well, you just should walk the coastal route. It's beautiful. Just walk the coastal route. But if you walk the coastal route, after a while, it's the same. It's boring.
I'm suspicious. I am suspicious. But what I say to the most of the pilgrims is walk part of the coastal walk and then came into the central. First, it was my first Camino, so it's kind of special to me, and also because I'm a hospitalier there, also because that's why I'm suspicious. But you can have part of both, and it's beautiful in both ways.
Exactly.
So Rob, this is like awkward question that I will do, but I really love, because I'm really fan of history and I'm really fan of Camino history. So if you had a chance, opportunity to sit down and have a chat with a historical person of the Camino, which one you choose? Anyone?
A historian of the Camino.
A historic, someone related to history on the Camino, or like, I don't know, St. James, Elias Olinha.
What was his name? A guy who wrote the Codex.
Aymeric Picot.
Sorry?
Aymeric Picot.
Oh yeah, So maybe I'd speak to him, or there's the Santo Domingo de la Calzada. So
do you know
that guy?
Yeah. Do you know the? You walk both them. Do you know that the story of Santo Domingo de la Calzada and the story of the Barcelos is the same one?
No, I didn't. But I have a chicken from Barcelos.
Okay. There are some differences, but the idea of it is the same one.
Yeah,
and I was talking a few days ago, because I've kind of know that also in Toulouse there's a similar story, and also in Germany. He told me that the German one, in Germany, I didn't know about it, but in Toulouse, the Santo Domingo de la Calzada in Barcelos are kind of the same story, and that is so beautiful to understand. But mostly the Portuguese one and the Spanish one, and that both of them are related to the Camino. And
yeah, right. They're both on the Camino. Yeah.
For me, that is so interesting. I don't know.
Thank you for telling me that. I didn't realize that.
But yeah, it's the same.
We were in Barcelos, and there are these chickens everywhere. And some of the chickens that people make, you can buy them, are really amazing chickens.
Actually,
but I had no idea the connection.
The connection. It's I don't know. I can tell the story, but there was on the 14th century. Yeah, there was a couple of pilgrims from the ancient Galicia, and they're starting the Camino in Portugal, I guess. There were family pilgrims that are doing a religious pilgrimage. This is important, and there is a family of them. So and then they went, they came back. They went and stayed at the time they call it hospederia,
Yeah.
and the owner of this place, he has a daughter, and this daughter fell in love in the moment that they get to know with the son of this family. But as they were in a pilgrimage, in a religious pilgrimage, this son, he had no interest on the daughter of the owner of the place. So the daughter prepared some revenge. So she put it like this silver spoon on their stuff, and they accused this son of stealing the silver spoon. So because there were no one more outside of the town, they accused the family, but mostly the son, and then they came, they went and picked up the son, they went in front of a judge, and the judge was getting like this dinner with several people, and they were eating chicken. And the judge asked for this young guy, are you innocent? Are you innocent? And the guy's just claiming, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. But because there were no more proofs of his innocence, they were accusing to the, I don't know how you call it, to hang over, hang this young pilgrim. And his last words before he went to the hang thing, I don't know how you call it. He just
I'm listening.
He just said, I'm so innocent that when the moment that you will murder me, they will kill me. This chicken here will get up and start to sing or to dance, something like that. So they went, they started to do to hang this young guy, and in a moment the rope let go, the chicken, the roasted chicken started lifted and started to sing and dancing. And then the judge and the other people started to run to the place where was the young thing, and the pilgrim was alive, and many people say was Saint James that holding the pilgrim by his feet. So that's a story.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that there are similar stories I hadn't heard of them, but yeah, I was in Toulouse. I didn't know that they had the same story in Toulouse. But anyway, thank you for telling the story. Here is a chicken from Barcelos.
There you have the song. You know, now you have the song.
Thank you very much.
For me, because we are talking about Barcelos, it's really, really important place for me on every Camino, because we're in Barcelos, where I was drawn to walk or to do the Camino for the first time. So I was like in a bad place in my life, and I was working as a salesman, but this work wasn't going well. So I left the job, and until this moment, I don't know why, the first thing that I've done it, I started to talk to a couple from Australia, and I talked like for 15 minutes to this couple, And after that 15 minutes of chatting with them, I decided to walk the Camino. And that's why Barcelona is really, really important town for me. There are other places that are really important for me in the Camino, like Padrón on the Portuguese Camino, like Hospitales on the Primitivo, like
Yeah, the
the cross.
Hospitales. Everybody should walk the Hospitales. It's amazing.
I don't know, I can't describe it. Like the cross of San Salvador on the Camino San Salvador, also really, really special for me. More places, some people, some albergs. So regarding places, what are the places that are really stick out to you on your Camino?
Well, I would say the most amazing one is, of course, now I've got a block on the name of the place. It's after, oh my God, I'm getting old. Rabanal del Camino. So I have a little story if you want. I can tell you about Rabanal.
Please tell us.
Yeah, so there's several albergues, and I wound up in a really nice one run by this lady called Pilar. And I was there in 2011, and then I was there again in 2019. So in 2011, I'm washing my clothes like everybody does. And this guy comes up, he looks like a typical pilgrim. And, I always talk to people. So I started talking to him, and I find out he's an Italian guy. And we talk a little bit, and then, I'm finished and I go off to hang up my clothes. And then a bit later, I'm sitting alone having a beer in the courtyard there. And this guy comes over again, and he's got a huge pile of paper like this thick. And he's sort of collating the pages. And then a wind comes and blows the pages. And so I sort of help him catch them, get them back. And then we start talking. And it turns out he is a Jesuit priest. He is there with 20 novitiates from a seminary down in southern Italy, and they're having a religious experience. And I asked him, what do you do on the Camino with these guys? He said, we get up and we walk, and after 2 hours, we stop and we go off the Camino and we pray together. And then I'd walked the day before, and I'd noticed these people. I'm thinking, what the heck are they doing out there in the grass? It was them. So anyway, so we're talking some more, and he says, and then, at the end of the day, I go find the local priest, and I ask, can we have a service in your church? And I said, oh, that's interesting. Have you got something set up here in Rabanal? And he said, yeah, we have. And I said, I'm not Catholic. I was sort of Christian back then. And so I said, well, I was inspired to ask him, could I join in the service with you guys? And he said, well, it's going to be in Italian. You won't understand anything. And I said, I've heard Spanish. I've heard lots of French Catholic services. And, there's words that I would like to. And he said, okay, so show up at 6:30. So at 6:30, there's this tiny little church it's a chapel really in Rabanal. And I go inside, and it's dark, and the place is falling apart. It's pretty, but it's very old. Santa Maria, I think it is. And in this little place, cramped little place, there's the priest and the novitiates and the local priest. And they have the service. And during the service, the priest is, the Jesuit priest is blessing everybody. And he just finished giving a sermon, which I didn't understand a word of. And then he starts in English. And he introduces me and says, this is Robert, a pilgrim. he's from the UK or he's from Scotland, and let's pray for him. I can tell you right now, that was probably the most amazing experience for me. And I thank God, the Creator, Allah, whatever you want, he exists. And that's why we're all here.
Let me tell you a story about the place nearby that one. Nearby Havana. I'm talking about the other cross. So, unfortunately, I did not have the time to walk the French way until now. Maybe next year, I don't know. But I am sure that when I will walk, I won't walk all the way, at least from Saint John. But the Iron Cross was a place that I wanted to know a few months ago. I really wanted to know. So I made an arrangement with a Galician friend of mine, and we drove one day in June. We drove there. So it was on the 3rd of June, on the 3rd day of June, I guess. Yeah. And we drove. I drove from all the way north of Portugal to Galicia, and then Galicia to Castilla y León to Ponferrada, then Ponferrada, Molina Seca, and Molina Seca we went all to the Iron Cross. So from Molina Seca to the Iron Cross, we're driving, and it was like this frog. Oh, frog, not frog, yeah.
Fog,
yeah. All the fog, yeah. So frog, it's another thing. So there's all this fog everywhere. We cannot see anything ahead of us. So we're just driving. We passed San Miguel de Acebo, we passed Margarine, and all the way driving. So we reached the Iron Cross. We parked the car, and everything was fog everywhere again. So while we are waiting, because there were like 4 pilgrims there on the Iron Cross, so me and my friend, we wait for the pilgrims to do their thing and to continue their journey. So the moment, I don't know, but this happens, the moment that these 4 pilgrims continue the journey, and both of we approach the Iron Cross, the fog disappeared, and we're clear. Everything were clear. See, like that.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, all of the way from Molina Seca, like half an hour. Then there were the pilgrims were there were fog everywhere, and then suddenly no fog. Everything was clear.
The sun shines and glints on the cross.
And I don't know, but I stayed like 20 minutes there without saying a word, just living the moment, just appreciating the moment. It was, and I started to think, so this happens to me while I'm walking the car, while I'm driving the car. What will happen to me when I will be walking there? I don't know. For me, it was really beautiful moment, you know. So Robert, if your Camino had an expression, what expression would be?
Well, it's the path to freedom.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. You're the first one to tell me that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful. It can free you.
Did you ever thought that I don't know? Did you change, if you could go back to your first Camino, did you change anything, or you do
No,
everything the same?
I do. I've walked it twice. So in 2019, Kate and I walked from Le Puy together. We'd both walked separately, and previously we walked together, and we walked until a town on the Via Podiensis called Lecture, and then we jumped on a bus and we went to the Arles route, and we started walking the Arles route, which is a really nice route. And you come to a town in France just before the Pyrenees. And from that point of that town, what's the name of the town, darling? The town in France before the Pyrenees, where they make the berets. Yeah, so it's called Oloron-Saint-Marie. And if you start a Camino in Oloron-Saint-Marie, you go over the Pyrenees by what is known as the Col Saint-Port, which is a pass, the Saint-Port Pass.
Yeah.
From there, it joins the Française in Puente la Reina. Walking from Oloron to Puente la Reina, I have to say, is the 10 to 12 best day of Camino walking you can ever do. It is totally amazing. So lots of people start obviously in Saint-Jean. That's the, but if you start in Oloron, it's easy to get to, just like Saint-Jean. You go over the Col Saint-Port, then you walk the route in Spain to Puente la Reina. It's totally amazing.
Definitely.
So then we carried on from Puente la Reina on the Française. We went to Santiago, and then we said, okay, and we took the bus to Lisbon, and then walked from Lisbon back to Santiago. So we were walking for about 120 days altogether. And we hardly stopped. We spent a day or so in Santiago after the Française. We spent a couple of days in Lisbon because we wanted to see Lisbon, but we basically walked for 120 days. So people, this is one thing I like to say. If you want to take a rest day, take a rest day, but don't plan a rest day. They can ruin your Camino. And you don't get weaker, you get stronger. So the more you walk, the more you can walk.
That's amazing. No, so I on this last Camino that I walked 18 days, and it was kind of like a rest day, but it was worth it because on the Primitivo, one extraordinary friend that I have that have the albergue in Bodenaya, he told me to stay at this place, and this place it's in the middle, right in the middle of one of the larger stages between Okada and Lugo. So to stay at this place, and it was one of the most beautiful albergues that I ever stayed, and the people are so nice, the food, it was really, really amazing. And it's not so well known on the Camino. So I took 2 stages walking 15 kilometers, and it just felt so good. And to stay at the place was outstanding, was brilliant, was beautiful. Yeah, I really, really can relate to that. That's amazing.
And don't try not to have a fixed plan. I'm going to start here today, and I'm going to walk 20 kilometers, and I'm going to stop there, and I'll make a reservation, and then I'll walk another 20 kilometers tomorrow. Just get up in the morning. The signage is great. You won't get lost. If you do get lost, it's a great experience because then you get found. So don't worry. You just start walking, and you come to a place, and you know where you're going to stop when you come there, and you stop.
So another brilliant story that happened to me on this last Camino. On the day before, reaching a place in Okado, I have a friend, so I wanted to stay there. So on the first town of Galicia, in Fonsagrada, I asked to the hospitalero. So it was called Bernardo, I guess. Yeah. So I really love the traditions of the Camino and of the Galicia mainly. And I really love Galician carols, like the pipes, Galician pipes. I
Yeah,
really
the
love the
bagpipes. They're
back. Yeah,
Scottish.
yeah. I really love the music, and I really love people playing. And uh, so I asked to the guy, what is on the Camino where the Camino walks by? Um, what is the town where it's more easier to find someone playing the bagpipes? Um, and he said almost every little town or every pueblo, but most maybe Melin. Yeah, okay. So on the next morning, I made the big mistake, but it was not a mistake. So I had my breakfast, and I paid for my breakfast with money, and then I forgot to cash out more money. So I had no money for that stage. So I just walked. I walked and walked and walked, and I did not stop to drink a coffee or to drink a Coca-Cola, never. I stopped just to take a rest, but in the middle of the mountain. Or so I made two stops, just two stops. And um, mainly on this Camino, but on others also. I had like this ritual that in the morning, see, from the moment that I start to walk, I have to listen to two songs. One is called A Santiago Voy, and the other calls Un Beso y una Flor. One is in Gallego, and the other one is in Spanish. And these two songs, it's just to my day has to be good. I just have to listen to these two songs. But anyway, I was arriving in Okado, and like 1 kilometer and a half before, I just felt the need to listen to a Galician carol playing the bagpipes. And I was listening to this old Galician, really known Galician carol. And suddenly, when arriving in Okada, in the moment I was arriving, I started to listen them, but not on my phone, on real life. You know, on the moment that I was arriving, it was celebrating the day of the town that day. And there was every day playing the bagpipes every day. And I don't know, I just felt that not to add money to play, to stop in a coffee, and just stopped in the middle of the month to take a rest. I had to arrive to the town in that moment, just to listen that moment, that song. And I don't know, when when I arrived, I was just cold because I was just chills everywhere. For me, it was really special. And
Yeah.
it was one of really good moment for me. Uh, was really special. So, Robert, we're almost finishing here. But one last question, and then I will ask you, but a favor, not a question. First, um, what it means to you, your backpack? What is the meaning of your backpack?
So Kate and I talk about this. There's the backpack, and pilgrims talk about it a lot. There's the backpack, the physical backpack.
Yeah.
I have two that I've used. I keep them, and I will always, I have the shell hanging on them. But then that's the physical backpack, but then there's what you could call the backpack of life, which is crammed full. It weighs way, way more than your physical backpack. It's crammed full of your fears and your phobias and your worries and all of the things that weigh you down. And this spiritual backpack, or whatever you want to call it, this emotional backpack, is something that you need to cut a hole in it and let the stuff just fall out, and to lighten your life up. And this is really almost the essence of living a Camino way of life. Thank you for asking this question, because basically we are weighed down with lots of crazy stuff that we talk in our heads about. And if we can we can learn to let go of all of this stuff. Just drop it. Put your backpack, the backpack of life, start putting all of the stuff that's in it down, and you will live a much lighter life.
Definitely. So, Robert, thank you so much for your nice words. And now I have a request for you. So, for finishing here, I just want you to ask to leave a message from a pilgrim to the pilgrims, or from the Camino to the Camino. Whatever you want to say, whatever you felt that is right to say, please.
Okay. If you get a call, or if you have an inkling that maybe you should walk a Camino, that you would like to walk a Camino, act on it. Just go for it. Figure out how you're going to do it, and do it outside of your comfort zone. It's so important. You will hear all kinds of advice. Have your backpack carried, stay in hotels, make reservations. You can walk that way, but you are reducing your possibility of having a profound experience, because it is doing all of these things day after day. If you can do 20 days, 30 days, do it, because it's much more likely to result in a positive change in your life. So do it outside of your comfort zone. Don't listen to the people who say book and use a tour guide and all of that. Just go to the beginning point and not worry. You'll have fears, of course, but you'll start walking, you'll find people who are amazing. You will find the albergue that maybe oh my God, there's 100 people in here and there's only 4 toilets. What am I going to do? And no toilet seats. Oh my God. So that is all important. And they don't worry about wearing earplugs. You'll sleep. And every morning, I had every day on my first Camino for 60 days, my feet hurt like hell at the end of the day. And I think, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to walk tomorrow. Then I'd wake up in the morning, my feet were totally fine, and I'd walk. And then around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, every day, oh my God, my feet hurt again. But you'll have all kinds of experiences. You'll get lost. And you'll think, oh my God, this is awful. And then suddenly you have an experience where you get found. You literally get found, and you think, wow, it was worth getting lost. and you
Don't
discover that
yeah,
life is good.
like you said before, don't complain. Don't complain and
Yeah,
enjoy it
drop
every
the
day.
complaints.
Yeah.
And if it rains, it could rain all day. It could be muddy as heck. You could slip on rocks. It's still a beautiful day, and you'll discover you don't melt.
Yeah. So Robert, we finishing here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really lovely. And I hope to meet you someday. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Yeah, mate. Thank you very much for the invitation. And I feel like this was a lot better conversation for me. Not that you
Even
were
for me,
bad
yeah,
last
yeah.
time, but I think keep it up. You're doing a great job. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.